Mr. Speaker, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I have come to the House this year, coming back, having been in the majority with fairly low expectations, really. I mean, didn't expect a lot of things to happen. I wasn't surprised at all to see that some legislation that we had passed in years past was being rolled back, like the student loan servicing bill and the bill on protecting contract workers. I'm not surprised to see some bills being repealed altogether, like the bill we'll be voting on later that is going to repeal the local option to control gun violence prevention. I thought that to repeal the local option to keep guns out of public places. And I wasn't really surprised to see, frankly, some of the issues that we've championed over the years be watered down, like the bill that we're going to vote on human trafficking. We had a watered-down version of that bill. So rolled back, repealed, watered down. It didn't really surprise me at all. But what surprised me yesterday, early in the morning at 7 a.m., was a complete reversal, not of a Democratic position, but of a position that Republicans had embraced over the last several years. And so, again, I don't expect much, but I was surprised, Mr. Speaker, when we had a bill, and maybe it was a patron problem, I understand, right? We had a bill, though, that would have banned the personal use of one's campaign funds, right? It's a bill that passed this House 100-0 at least 3 times, with Mark Cole, the Honorable Mark Cole, as the chief patron a couple times, with me as the chief patron once. 100-0. We all agreed. People, you ought not be taking the money that you raise from your contributors to run your campaigns and be able to spend it on yourselves. Every year it came back from the Senate with a problem. The last several years it came back from the Senate with a problem. Now, it reminded me a little bit, it was appropriate, I guess, that it was Groundhog Day yesterday morning, because I did feel like I was sort of living a day over and over again. But I will tell you that back in the old days, when that bill used to die, we used to at least have, the politeness to make something up, right? I mean, I remember that Riley Ingram's comb. Some of you remember that hearing. Riley Ingram had a comb that he kept in his back pocket that had Ingram for delegate on it. And Delegate Simon, could you explain to me if I'd be breaking the law if I continued to use this comb personally on my own head? And so he lost the bill one year for that. And I remember there was a year that Doc O'Bannon was afraid that if he spilled coffee on his shirt on the campaign trail and had to go buy himself another shirt real quickly, whether he'd be able to use campaign funds for that. I remember folks being worried about whether they could eat pizza with their staff or not. And so, at least I sort of would have expected somebody to make up a reason why this was too hard, too confusing, why we couldn't be one of the other 48 states that have already banned the personal use of campaign funds. But I didn't even get that. That's why I guess I was so surprised. And again, I'll acknowledge that it could be a line 5 problem, right? I mean, any bill that's got my name on it is in danger right off the bat. But I had a Republican identical bill introduced by somebody on your side of the aisle, again, for a bill that, again, Republicans had championed years and years and years in a row. So I've been scratching my head trying to figure out what's different this year. Why would you guys completely go 180 degrees and oppose a bill that passed out of here 100-0? And then I remember working with the delegate from Delegate O'Quinn on the campaign over the summer on the Campaign Finance Subcommittee. And I remember working with the skeptics in the Senate. And we figured out how we were going to deal with the pizza parties. And we figured out what you would do with the spilled things on your shirt. And we figured out how to get the answers to the questions that would set up the traps. And I think we realized that this year, if we passed it, it might actually become law. And I think that, Mr. Speaker, is what caused the change of heart over here. Is a free pass, easy. Yes, I can vote for that. The Senate will kill it for us. They'll do the dirty work. But after we spent all summer in our Joint Committee on Campaign Finance working out the details, spending the hours figuring it out, bringing in experts from NCSL and bringing in experts from across the country to figure this out, getting the Department of Elections to tell us, and Chris Piper to tell us how they would work it out and how they would answer our questions, how we would make sure there were no traps, making sure that people would be penalized for making frivolous claims so it wouldn't be politicized. All the things that people have objected to over the years, we had that all figured out, and it was going to become law this year. So I did come with that one expectation. I didn't expect my name necessarily to be on the bill that passed, but I thought this year, Mr. Speaker, we could get that bill over the line. But at 7 o'clock, after a long day, after hearing from a number of witnesses in support, no witnesses opposed, no argument opposed, the bill was laid, at least gently, on the table. So I guess I could be appreciative of that. But Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I know that we can do better than that. I know we are better than that. I know that we've got some bills that we'll be voting on today that are recommendations of that joint campaign finance study group that met between the House and the Senate. They're going to bring some much needed transparency to the process. We're going to have people subject to audits. We're going to have record-keeping requirements and things like that. So we're making a step in the right direction. But, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, we are better than that. I hope that if this bill does come from the Senate, we won't automatically cast it aside just because we'd already voted to table it once. We're better than that, Mr. Speaker. Our constituents expect more from us than that. And I hope that we'll pass this bill and finally get that bill that I've been working on for 8 years across the finish line. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.